Part 1. My story start. In 1885 I was 10 years old. My father and mother were dead. I lived with my aunt and uncle. Their house was called Reed Hall. The house was in Kundo in the north of England. My aunt and uncle had two children, a boy John and a girl Eliza. I liked my uncle and he liked me. But in 1886 my uncle died. After that I was very unhappy. My aunt did not like me. John and Eliza were unkind to me. It was a cold rainy day in December. All of us were in the house. I wanted to be alone, I wanted to read, I opened a book. Then I heard my cousin John's voice. Michael, Michael, where are you? John shouted. He came into the room and saw me. Why are you reading my book? John asked. Give it to me. John took the book, he hit my head with it. I screamed. John hit me again. I pulled his hair and I kicked him. Mama, help, help, John shouted. Aunt ran into the room. She pulled me away from John. John hit me with a book, I said. I hate him and I hate you too. You are a bad boy, Michael, my aunt said. I wanted to leave this house, I said, Aunt. Where will you go? Your parents are dead. You cannot live alone. Aunt thought for a moment. My friend Mr. Chaplin is the owner of a school, Aunt said. I'll send you to Mr. Chaplin's school. A few days later, Mr. Chaplin came to our house. He was a very tall man, his eyes were dark and his face was cruel. Michael, he said to me, God doesn't like bad children. God punished bad children, Michael. God will punish Jones, I replied. Jones hit me and he shouts at me. This is not true, you are a liar, Michael, Mr. Chaplin said. You must not tell lies. And you must not live here with your cousins. You will come to Laundry School. You'll become a good boy. I want to come to your school, I said. I want to leave this house. Bad boys are punished at my school, Michael, said Mr. Chaplin. The boys work very hard at Laundry School. I will work hard, I will be a good student, Mr. Chaplin, I said. 2 weeks later, I left this house, I went to Laundry School. It was the month of January. I arrived at Laundry School at night. A servant took me up some stairs and into a big bedroom. There were many beds in the room. The boys' beds were asleep. The servant took me to an empty bed. I put on my nightclothes and I got into bed. Soon I was asleep too. I woke up very early. A loud bell was ringing. The bedroom was dark and cold. I watched the other boys. They washed in cold water and they dressed quickly. There was a plain brown dress next to my bed, and there was a pair of ugly heavy shoes. I washed quickly, then I put on my new clothes. I was very hungry. I followed the other boys down the stairs. We sat down at long tables in a large dining room. Our food was terrible. The food is bad again, one of the boys said. Stand up, a teacher shouted. Don't talk. We stood up, we didn't speak. We walked into a big schoolroom and we sat down. There were about 80 boys in the schoolroom, and there were four classes. The oldest boys were in the fourth class. I was in the first class. Four teachers came into the room and we began our lessons. The lessons were not interesting. First we read some page in a book. Then our teacher asked us questions about those pages. After 4 hours we went outside. It was very cold. Very soon a bell rang. Lesson started again. 3 weeks passed. One afternoon the head teacher came into the schoolroom. The head teacher's name was Miss Temple. Mr. Chaplin was with her. We all stood up. I stood behind an older boy. I didn't want Mr. Chaplin to see me. Mr. Chaplin walked slowly round the room. Everybody was very quiet. And then I dropped my book. Mr. Chaplin stopped walking. He looked at me. "Ah, the new boy," he said. "Come here, Michael." Then he pointed at two of the older boys. "You two boys put Michael on that high chair," he said. "Look at Michael, everybody," Mr. Chaplin said. "Child is bad. He is a liar. He will be punished. Miss Temple, teacher, boys, don't talk to this child." Then he spoke to me again. "Michael, you must on that chair for 2 hours," he said. "You are a bad boy." That evening I cried. But Miss Temple was kind to me. "You are a good boy, Michael," she said. "Thank you, Miss Temple," I said. London School was in an unhealthy place. The buildings were wet and cold. Mr. Chaplin owned the school. He was a rich man. But he didn't buy warm clothes for us. And he didn't buy good food for us. Everybody hated him. In the spring, many of the boys became sick. Some of them left the school, they never came back. Many of the boys died. The spring was a terrible time. We had no lessons. Miss Temple and the other teacher took care of the sick students. Mr. Chaplin had to buy better food for us. And he had to buy warm clothes for us. Mr. Chaplin never came to the school. The next year, Lond School moved to a better place. It was a healthier place. There were new schoolrooms, new bedrooms, and a new dining room. The new buildings were bright and clean. The teachers were happy. After that, I was happy at Lond School too. I was a good student at Lond School for 6 years. Then I became a teacher. I was a teacher at the school for 2 years. But I never returned to Reed Hall. And Aunt never wrote to me. Part 2 will be coming. Please subscribe our channel.